It's January 2025. Game releases are slow, and Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed until March. What better time to tackle the ever-growing backlog, you might think? Only joking. Let's replay an old game and get the Platinum Trophy. Ratchet Clank Going Commando is the second installment in Insomniac's beloved franchise. Released on the PS2 in 2003, the third-person action-adventure follows Ratchet & Clank, this time hired by Megacorp to locate a thief who has stolen a biological experiment. This biological experiment ends up just being a fuzzy blue ball, but we'll come back to that later on. Fans of the franchise will be pretty familiar with what is expected of the Platinum Trophy. The standard story-related trophies, a handful of miscellaneous trophies, and a vast amount of collectibles. PSN profiles has the Platinum at a 3 out of 10 difficulty, estimating 2 playthroughs with a total time of 15 hours. Because of that, we better jump right in. Although Insomniac like to make it confusing by introducing different coloured bolts throughout the franchise, this one in Ratchet Clank 2 features platinum bolts, and it wasn't long before I found my first out of a total 20. First of many platinum bolts to collect. It's going to be a long grind, but there's one out of the way. It wasn't long after getting this platinum bolt that I had a very British realisation.
Press triangle to interrupt messages. Pause and select options to disable them permanently.
It's just dawned on me, this is a very niche one for the UK audience. The narrator of this game sounds like the narrator of UK MasterChef, and I have no idea what her name is. In my personal opinion, one of the most satisfying sounds in video game history is collecting the bolts in Ratchet & Clank, which was a good job as I needed to collect millions of these for some of the late game trophies and weapon purchases. As this game came out in 2003, I was super young when I first played it. And looking back now, I have no idea how I managed to beat the game, considering the amount of times I genuinely struggled in this playthrough. My young brain used to struggle with these, so fingers crossed now it won't be as complicated. We all love a gaming Easter egg, and apparently so do Insomniac. No matter what team you were when you grew up, you got to admit this is pretty cool. Yeah, they are. Jak and Dax are the goats. I've always been Team Ratchet and Clank myself. Controversial, I know. Did someone say more bolt? Bolt Scavenger 2, I have no idea how many. That might be 250,000 total. I definitely don't think it's a million. I'm nowhere near that. But we take that, another trophy down. I think that's only trophy number 3, I'm pretty sure, so far. Long way to go. To assist with the huge undertaking of collecting bolts, there is an optional side boss on the first planet that can only be faced after acquiring the gravity boost. The prize? Box Breaker, which allows the wrench slam radius to increase massively, in turn making it far easier to farm bolt after bolt after bolt. Thought he was going to get the better of me there. That is going to be super helpful in getting bolts, because I believe that's the add-on, the box breaker. So now if I jump and smash, it will just smash everything in sight, and it's so handy at getting extra bolts. So we'll be able to farm a lot quicker now, which is nice. After getting stranded in the desert of Tabor, you must collect a small handful of crystals to pay someone to fix your ship. Collecting all 100 of these crystals leads to a nice surprise. I was about to rip my hair out. Heal your chi or chai, who knows, who cares. I was literally getting to right up trying to find that last crystal. We finally got it. We've got the skill point, and we can also redeem another 5,000 bolts, which is real nice. We're up to 82,000. 0 crystals remaining. That was starting to get the better of me, that one. Now this sounds pretty agonising, right? We'll enjoy doing it again later on Planet Groin, where you need 101 ice crystals for this trophy to pop. If I'm correct, this should be the last crystal for a skill point. I don't know if I have to collect it or trade them in for it to count. This doesn't reach me. Any danger? There we go, got a skill point. I think that's a trophy related one as well. Absolutely love to see it. Be a Moonchild. That is for collecting every crystal. I can't remember how many there is. A lot. I want to die here to get my HP back and return to ship. That is another trophy down. Despite following a rough guide to avoid any extra playthroughs, I still had some very unexpected surprises throughout my gaming sessions. This particular trophy was for guiding the guests through the tour without any of them taking damage on planet Tadana. I've got a skill point and a trophy, you're my hero. I have no idea why. I saw on the last run that once that tour was finished, this door opened and I could get the platinum bolt. I have no idea what that trophy is for, but we'll take it. One of my least favourite parts of the game were the hoverbike challenges. They would reward you with gadgets and bolts, but they were no easy task due to the janky controls. Just look how close I was to missing out on this race-related trophy. 0.1 second. Speed Demon. I mean, timed it to perfection. I can't believe I managed that first time. Once I missed that speed boost on the last lap, I thought that was it. 0.1 seconds. I'm not going to complain. I hopefully don't have to go back to any more races, because those and the ship fights are my least favourite part by far. One of the more grindable trophies in the game is for collecting all skill points. This can include reaping havoc on planets until there are no bolts left whatsoever, and destroying particular parts of the map, such as these rockets on Tadano. One skill point in particular has been known to cause a huge divide in the community due to its buggy nature, which involved taking out all enemies using only weapons from the first Ratchet and Clank game on a particular planet. Right, he should be the last enemy, so if I kill him and the skill point doesn't pop, I will cry.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Really? Really? I quite simply refused to let this get the better of me, so with a bit of grit and determination, this finally happened. Get in there. About the third or fourth attempt, and it finally worked. Oh, thank the Lord for that. Apparently it's not a trophy, it's just a skill point, but I don't care. I thought I was going to be stuck on that one for ages, doing loop after loop. For some reason, Insomniac seemed to take a lot of joy by letting Ratchet take out random enemies with the game's huge variation of weapons. Turning 16 squirrels into sheep unlocked me the Try to Sleep trophy, while taking down 14 ships on Snivelac led to moving violation. Finally, me shooting myself in the foot and pausing the recording meant I missed the popping of the Bye Bye Birdies trophy. So, stupidly, I paused my recording and forgot to resume, but I did just get the trophy on Planet Joba for killing a certain amount of birds. I can't remember how many it is, 10 or 12 I believe. But I did just get that, you'll have to trust me. I'll pop it up on the screen. So that's another one off the list, which is nice. A core mechanic across the franchise is the ability to grind rails and feel like prime Tony Hawk. Doing so without taking damage on Planet Damacel earns you Midtown Insanity, whilst there is another later in the game on Planet Boldan. Is that a trophy related one or just a skill point? No shocking development. So that is the skill point for riding that whole zipline without taking any damage, which puts us at 24 out of 30. Aside from the hoverbike races, another great way to earn gadgets and bolts are in the gladiator battles. The impossible challenge is the ultimate test of endurance and ammo sparing abilities, but when you're as over leveled as I was at this stage in the game, the 10 minutes or so it took to complete absolutely flew by. And the reward? 200,000 bolts and a lovely silver trophy. And how overpowered, you may ask? Okay, that's just not fair. I think my wrench might be too powerful for him. That's a skill point. And the subsequent trophy, wrench, ninja, blade to blade. There's for beating Chainblade with just your wrench. And as you can see, because I've got a max level wrench, that was a lot easier than it should have been. Before entering challenge mode, which in modern day gaming we now know as New Game Plus, I wanted to get as many miscellaneous trophies done as possible, as this game has a stupidly large amount. I spent the next god knows how long gambling on the fruit machines, eliminating enemies with a crane, and taking out innocent snowmen along the way. All of this carnage led to Bolted Down, which showed me all the grind was actually paying off well. This was for collecting 1 million bolts in total. As you may be able to tell by some of the choppy audio and editing, this is my first real go at longer form content. I think I may need to change some of my keybinds, as I managed to pause my recording a handful of times and I missed out on these 5 trophies. If you made it this far into the video, please drop a green heart emoji down below to let me know you're still here despite my pure mares. While we're on the topic of mares, how on earth did Insomniac think the Clank levels were a good idea? Destroying every building in the boss battle was Giant Clank on Planet Dobbo, earns you the Robo Rampage trophy. And I later found out there was a skill point which involved beating this boss without firing any rockets, which was just about as tedious as it sounds. Remember at the start of the video when I said there were 20 platinum bolts to collect? Well, it turns out there's actually 40, so after a mixture of stumbling across them naturally and using a guide, I found the final one I needed on the final planet, Planet Yeedle. Oh, that was the last platinum bolt. I'm pretty sure platinum power is the gold trophy for collecting all the platinum bolts, which I didn't realise that was the last one, but that's proper decent. I'm actually going to go as spendable now because I was a bit worried during my playthrough that you weren't allowed to spend the platinum bolts on upgrading weapons and getting weapon mods, but now that I've got the trophy I'm not as scared to spend them anymore, so we can upgrade some of our weapons ready for the final boss fight, which is nice. So I spent last night off camera farming up rare Ratanium on one of the planets, so I'm hoping that I should now have enough to purchase all of this, which will give me the nice Riot trophy, which is fully upgrading the ship. That's another one down, and if we have a look at the trophy list, upgrade all the weapons, defeat the final boss, collect 2 million bolts and max out the nanotech upgrades, obtain a Rhino and the Zodiac gadget. Those two and the bolts will be done in the challenge mode because obviously you get the multiplier, it's much easier to get bolts. Access to the Insomniac Museum, I don't know how to do it off the top of my head. Carbonox armor will also likely be in challenge mode, so I'm pretty sure if on this specific run, if we just get the rest of the skill points, I should actually be able to fully upgrade all weapons, I think, and then defeat the final boss. We should be good to go to start the next mode. I do want to have a quick look around the planets and try and find the remaining nanotech, because there's a few of the capsules that I haven't actually got yet. Yes, for those of you who may not know, nanotech is the health system in Ratchet & Clank. You can upgrade this naturally by defeating enemies, as well as collecting nanotech capsules, which are scattered around the planets. Maxing out your nanotech will reward you with nano to the max. You may have noticed I've skipped over a lot of the plot, and that is because I believe everyone should play this game and experience the journey of Ratchet & Clank, which now spans for multiple decades. However, to conclude this particular game, you must defeat the mutated proto-pet, which doesn't look anywhere near as friendly as it did earlier in the video. I'm not sure if he's got a second phase or if I'm over leveled, because I remember seeing people say that the boss fight was actually quite tricky. And I don't remember it being that easy back in the day, but I'm not going to complain if that was it.
Quark had him tied up in a supply closet all this time. Gentlemen, I have my most profound gratitude. It was nothing, sir. I'm just sorry we couldn't get the whistle back. Right, what do you suppose is wrong with it? I don't know. It could take months of research and... using that. Oops. And was selected at the very last. I'm going. Just had to amplify the device with medical TV transported and security other pads. Clank? Oh, it's okay. I can fix her. I promise.
A few moments later.
Gold trophy, mutation complete. That was for beating the final boss. One last thing I wanted to get done before resetting my progress was to visit the Insomniac Museum. This is a secret location on planet Boldan, which I totally didn't use a well-known exploit to get to. Feature way ahead of its time allowed you to see the works and thoughts of several developers on the first 2 games, but more importantly for me, it was another trophy in the bag. It was finally time for challenge mode. You start from the beginning of the story, however keeping all of your armor, weapons and upgrades. The twist? You have a bolt multiplier which resets to 1 every time you get hit. I knew that stacking this up to the maximum of 20 was the best way to farm bolts. It was going to be the quickest way to hit my targets. A lot, and I mean a lot, of time later, I hit 2 million bolts, bought the goated weapon, the Rhino, and upgraded the max level armor, Carbonons. A trophy hunter's dream? Popping multiple trophies at once, which at this late stage into the game felt like an absolute Christmas miracle. BFG, I didn't realise that. Oh, we got a double destruction time, and so one of them's for buying the Zodiac, the other might be for fully upgrading every weapon, because obviously the Zodiac and the Rhino you can't level up. So we've got a double whammy there. I don't actually know how many I've got left. I think I've got a couple of skill points if we take a quick look. Yeah, we're missing one more skill point, and that might honestly be the Plat. Vandalize on Maxar. So we'll have a quick look what that is, get that one done, and I think that might be the Platinum Trophy. So let's have a little look. And just like that, my Ratchet Clank Going Commando journey was coming to an end. The nostalgia hit was crazy from this one, and it has really made me want to replay other games from my childhood. I highly recommend anyone who hasn't delved into the Ratchet franchise to start from the very beginning and experience the magic yourself. Rift Apart is still one of my favourite games from the PS5 generation. Please drop a comment down below which games you would like to see me platinum next, and I will see you in the next one. To my knowledge, that should be super skilled, and if I've done my maths right, he went Commando Platinum Trophy. Finally done. That grinding challenge mode was pretty easy, to be fair. It was just time consuming getting all the bolts and stuff like that.